Welcome, viewers of the lounge. We are back with a slight change to the normal Nexus Rumble format. This week we've got a rematch between Forhum and Ähre versus Lazer Sharks. Transparent, tell us the backstory.
Yep, so a bit of backstory. These guys faced off a couple of weeks ago, actually, I believe so. And in the Nexus Rumble, because we've had a little bit of busyness going on inside the Nexus Rumble and a bit inside Lounge. But Faram and Ähre just wanted to play anyone they could get their hands on, and Lazer Sharks were more than happy to oblige. So we are going straight in with a good rematch here. Yeah, Faram and Ähre, they've been a strong team, staple week on week out, and Lazer Sharks just feel like they've been at the top a little bit too long. So we'll have to see what's going to happen here.
Yeah, we will. I mean, I think there's lots of unknowns in this first match that we've got going on, and sadly, it is the only match we've got on tonight. There's no upper bracket this week. They're taking a week off, but yeah, should be some exciting times here in the lower Nexus Rumble. I believe that there are some map picks. There's a map pick in already from these teams, so we're going to bring those up for viewers to look at. So we can see here the Battlefield of Eternity and Braxis Holdout were banned by Lazer Sharks, and Dragonshire and Tomb of the Spider Queen were banned by their opponents, and it's Infernal Shrines, always the most popular map in Heroes Lounge, which is going to be game number 1 in this best of 3 series.
Yeah, after, BOE and Braxis banned out by Lazer Sharks, you're sort of thinking, well, they obviously don't like 2-lane maps. But so something like Shrines makes a lot of sense there. Which, having that 3-lane map with the pressure of sort of the Punishers, you're going to have to look out for some interesting picks here. You might be seeing the Kerrigan. Oh, no, sorry, the Kerrigan's banned at the moment. We can't speak of Kerrigan. But
Kerrigan does not exist. If you're at home and you're wondering, what is Kerrigan, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I've always wanted to see Kerrigan in Heroes of the Storm, But no, here today we aren't going to see her. But stuff like Alex Straza can come out in terms of the healers, and that's not necessarily something that these teams will be looking at, but they've certainly got some spicy drafts, especially from Faram and Ähre. They've played triple front line, so with double bruiser and 1 main tank, which can be really impactful even on this map when you're trying to control that shrine area. It's something you have to watch out for.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we might also see a bit of prioritization on some of those shrine clear picks, maybe like the Kale first, which is so popular here in lower divisions, but also, you've got your chance at other mages as well, Gul'dan, Orphea, that sort of stuff. Blaze, Blaze is a really popular solo laner, particularly on this map at the moment, partly because of that shrine clear, that ability to double soak as well. Do you think we might see a Blaze get prioritized here in the draft?
I think so. The way that sort of clear on the shrine, as well as just helping out with the wave clear, it's incredibly useful, and something that teams have favored a little bit in the past. So I would like to see that. The stun of Blaze is not to be underestimated.
Yeah, absolutely. The stun, the great engage, bunker as well for great survivability for his backline. So there's a lot that could come out there. Sonya as well, another offlane that's popular here on the Shrines. But I think there's a lot of different directions the draft could go here. I mean, is there anything that we know from these teams, having seen them in the Rumble before, that maybe they prioritize?
Yeah, so they've got a couple of bits and pieces that, as I say, D.Va has been pretty high up. And so as we go into the draft, we probably want to see D.Va being picked or banned. Certainly. Lazer Sharks didn't show the previous sort of prioritization on it, but Faram and Ähre certainly have been thinking about it.
Yeah, they have. So that D.Va may well get banned early on, as it is for Forhum and Ähre who have that first pick here on Infernal Shrines, the map having been picked by their opponents, Lazer Sharks. So, first ban coming in, let's see what it is. And we will hopefully in a couple of minutes get some betting underway, where you'll be able to bet on who you think will win game number 1 in this best of 3 series.
Now, to give a bit of history behind these, Furaman are a Division 6 team, but they're right at the top of Div 6 at the moment. Lazer Sharks, Division 5 team, doing well in Division 5 as well, but these teams did face off previously in the Nexus Rumble, and Furaman Ara took it 2-0. So will Lazer Sharks be able to recover from that defeat that they faced previously against this team? Or will Furaman Ara stay strong and stay vigilant in the face of this Division 5 team? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, there's the Gazlo ban. He's been certainly a top priority for pick and ban early in drafts in recent Storm League times since his last buffs. Viewers, the betting is now open. By the way, you can type !bet A and a number of points if you want to bet on Fulham and Ähre, who are on the left, and if you want to bet on their opponents, Lazer Sharks, the contenders this week, you can type !bet B. And get cracking.
Yeah. I want to give a small history lesson here as well for Lazer Sharks fans. So they're using a substitute in this first game at the moment. It's Sonny, who is from our upper tier champions at the moment, Phobophobius, but she was originally in the Lazer Sharks before they even started playing in Heroes Lounge. So these guys know each other very well, and so it's sort of like a Lazer Sharks plus one. So yeah, the kind substitute of Sonny here, playing for her old team, the Lazer Sharks. So that's, I think, why we've seen the ETC and Diablo ban here against Sonny, who plays that very well. But that has left Sergeant Hater to get their Imperius. Everyone has been saying Sergeant Hater's Imperius is something to watch out for week in, week out. And so banning out those tanks and getting that main tank Imperius, very good stuff here for Roman Era.
Black Milk online in the chat there pointing out sharks with freaking laser beams on their heads.
Yeah.
That's exactly what these are, and they've got the Diva to go with that. So that's going to be... Yeah. I mean, we talked about the value of that Diva, and I think you were saying, Trans, that Lazer Sharks haven't really played the Diva much. But here, possibly partly a deny pick as well.
Yeah, I mean, they've had it banned against them a few times, so maybe it's something they've just kept in sort of the background a little bit. But and obviously, if it gets banned out a lot because it's in that high meta, it's just something they've practiced but not been able to show off in a lounge match. But now they getting that first pick. Oh, Stukov Gul'dan. It's a lovely draft so far from Roman Era. Don't you think, Karis?
I mean, yeah, that's a well-rounded draft already. Even only 3 picks in, and they've got a lot of shrine clear, a lot of shrine control. We do say Stukov tends to be a good counter to Diva because of the silence and because of the swipes. So Wesley Swipes, as he's known in the Hollywood world, but he's going to be able to control that Diva bomb and also Diva when she comes out of the mech. So definitely a nice pickup there by Rosie. What is it left that Lazer Sharks need to kind of respond to that draft?
I think they're going to be thinking about Garrosh here as someone who can throw things around, especially the Diva mech as well. And also, it's another tank ban out. They're really trying to look at sort of focusing down that tank pool that Lazer Sharks are trying to sort of get something from, especially when they already have the Imperius.
Mephisto ban. That's good. That's a good ban there, though, to deny that that strong mage who can kind of clear quite safely the shrines and come in with a lot of damage. But it does leave a lot of mages still open, of course. There's the Joanna for solid wave clear, solid front line. She's not quite as popular as she used to be since that longer cooldown nerf to the Iron Skin. But still, she can still walk in there and create a bit of a nuisance and not be at too much risk of dying. And then the Tassadar picked up by Sunny here. That's, a solid mage to provide clear and damage.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And it's going to be good for the follow-up on the Johanna stun, as well as sort of poking people when Greymane's also trying to poke with the AAs, and once they sort of have that big burst moment, Tassadar can put out an incredible amount of damage with just one laser beam.
Do you think
popping Archon?
Do you think this could be a Rhaegar last pickup here from Lazer Sharks and going to a Bloodlust with the Archon, with the Greymane, with the Diva?
I mean, it potentially could be. Diva's auto attacks are incredibly strong and makes a lot of sense, but they're going to keep it safe, play it with an Anduin instead. And, I like that. But I'm a bit worried that Anduin won't be able to deal with the annoyance that has been Argalan's Rexar in these last few weeks. Argalan's Rexar is so on point. Misha pulls out these stuns here, there, and everywhere. And it's just that sort of thing of... Anduin has that cleanse, but obviously it has the pull, and so you can't really use it as easily as you'd like to against Amisha. So they've got to watch out.
They better watch out. They better not cry. They better
not pout.
They better not feed, and I'm telling you. Anyway, we're going to get into that game in just a second. You can still get some more bets in if you like on who you think will win this game. It is going to be a best of 3 series, so there's lots still to play for. I mean, overall, who do you think won this draft, transparent?
I kind of, the way that we've seen Farum and Ähre play in the last few weeks, I know that this draft really favours them. That they are lacking a little bit of blow-up damage to go behind that Imperius. But, yeah, Lazer Sharks, they've got a good all-round draft, but I think we're going to have to give it to Farum and Ähre.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think my gut feeling is Lazer Sharks have the edge in the draft here. It depends a lot on that Stukov and whether they'll be able to shut down the Diva. I think that'll be a big part of this. So, of course, it all does come down to execution at the end of the day, as indeed every draft does. So, I think there's a lot to play for here in Infernal Shrines. But, yeah, my gut feeling is Lazer Sharks have a slight edge in this draft.
Yeah, and Diva is such a power pick right now, and being able to sort of maybe go in and control that Stukov a little bit so he can't get that lurking arm off will be something that Diva's looking to do throughout the game. And if they ever get in any trouble, Commissar 16 on the Anduin is going to be there to pull them right out. So that's what they're going to be thinking about. Annoyance of the back line, but probably trying to focus on the Imperius with the rest of the sort of heroes. And yeah, if anything goes wrong, Anduin's there to give them a save. So we'll have to see what happens here as we go into game number 1.
Let's see indeed as we go into game number 1 in this best of 3 series. And in blue on the left, we have the current champions for Home and Ähre with Kazim on Cassia, Sergeant Hater on that feared Imperius, with Rosie on Stukov, with Soft Ice on the Gul'dan, and with Arlagan on Rexar.
Yep, and on the right-hand side, in the red, Lazer Sharks with Sonny on Tassadar, Commissar 16 on the Anduin. We see Pluck on Greymane, Tomab Boy on Johanna, and Botakath on Diva.
That is indeed the lineups, and let's get the talents up. Looking at this, so we've got the Thunderstroke coming in from Cassia level 1, going for those stacks on the Lightning Fury, and those are infinite stacks as I understand it, so she can keep stacking that all game. So late game that could potentially be a real threat. Meanwhile, of course, Tassadar with the stacks on static charge, which do have a cap these days. Diva, though, gets silenced by that Stukov, and you can already see how that disrupts everything the mech wants to do. You're getting a bit of a flavour there. That's a skewer from Imperius onto Greymane. Has to be saved by the Anduin. 82 HP, but will live. Nice save there from Commissar 16.
And you can see that the pressure and presence that Stukov is already giving with, there was a lot of trading of health bars there, but because of the way that Stukov's healing spreads, the whole of the blue team were able to heal back up to full, re-engage, and really pressure the red team there. Whereas Anduin was struggling to heal up anyone, particularly in this early game phase. So the rotations are already going really well for Farum and Ähre.
They are indeed, however, it's very early doors so far. And indeed, we see Lazer Sharks immediately going towards their siege camp on the right, matched by their opponents here on the left as well. So both teams prioritizing that camp straight away at 1 minute. Diva versus Rex are on the top lane. Now, what do we typically expect from that matchup? Is it a very stale matchup where neither player has kill pressure?
Well, I think, yeah, it's often quite stale, and, Misha can play so safely, but, with the stun, you might be able to get a bit of damage in there on the Diva, but of course that charges her mech blow-up cooldown. But we have got a bit of a fight down on the bot lane, and the red team able to take the camp. But, yeah, I wouldn't expect to see much in the top lane.
The bot lane camp fight was quite interesting, actually, because of that route from Commissar 16 on Imperius trying to enter into the trouble. So it's, you don't often see having like the healer as the anchor there when you're doing a camp, but Commissar 16 on the Anduin did a great job of just saying to Imperius, no, you're not coming in. You're going to stand there in the route.
Yeah, that is sort of the one thing that they are lacking on the side of the red team. The route is great to follow up on the Imperius stun, but Johanna's the only one with an actual stun to interrupt the sort of the spearing force that is Imperius. So they're going to have to watch out for the spear, because once they get to level 7 with the oh goodness me, I can't remember the Imperius talent now on level 7, but it's quite good. And so that will be something they have to look to interrupt to be able to reduce the value that Imperius will get in these fights.
Well, now, I mean, that's going to be definitely a key component, but here's an interesting factor for this first shrine is the red team has picked up their bruiser camp a little bit early, you might say, and what that's allowing is the blue team time to do their own bruiser camp and potentially get started on the clear of the red camp at the top as well. And so actually it seems like the camp pressure will be in favor of Ähre here in the first shrine.
Yeah, but they do need to be careful. There is 5 members of Lazer Sharks here, but the spear comes out onto Sonny on the tough start, but the pull comes out from Combo 6, and they're safe. Now they're trying to trade the health bars right back at the blue team. But yeah, really nice spear here from Sergeant Hater, putting the pressure on as they've looked to clear that camp at the top, but it's still available right now, and they'll now try and engage over this first shrine phase. We have Commissar 16 gets stunned once again by Sergeant Hater. The stuns from Misha comes out again. Diva has popped the bomb. Popping the bomb. Blue team now forced to disengage from this explosion, but red team looking to keep the pressure on after that.
Yeah, Misha's flanking actually, looking for more trouble, maybe trying to threaten Anduin, who's been so crucial in saving people in these fights. There goes Misha, this time onto Tassadar, locks down Sonny Tassadar, but she'll get away for now. There's the damage, counter damage onto Stukov there. Rosie's in a lot of trouble. Diva comes in with the disruption, tries to control Rosie there, but there's the peel from Misha onto 3 members, and oh my days, that's absolutely savage damage coming out from the blue team here, and they secure the kill on Anduin and the task to follow up. It's going to be 3 for nothing there in favor of Ähre.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite substantial. I was talking about it earlier, having to interrupt the charge here from Imperius, and that, you know, without that interrupt, Impaling Light got so much value in that fight, being able to pick up at least 2 more kills from that talent alone. So first shrine going over to Ähre in this map.
And I think a key part of that for why they were so successful in that is they managed to bait out the Diva mech really early by just threatening Diva, and the explosion was used fairly early on, and it was also fairly far to the right, so there was no real danger to the blue team. They weren't that hard committed, and the explosion was used. Well, that means you don't have it for when the fight is more contained in the mid, and you know, everyone, that's where you want it, is to control the maximum amount of space on these shrines.
Yeah, and having that was really smart play from Ähre. You're absolutely right. And from just pushing down the front wall, they instantly backed off, went to soak, and got the camp. So they're thinking heads up. They're thinking about the next thing that they need to do on this map. They're playing it so well right now. And Lazer Sharks need to think about what they're going to do to step up before level 10 hits.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be in time to contest this bottom camp, though, and that gets picked up by Ähre. I think it's not much of an XP difference, though, given that it's 3 kills to nothing. It's very close in the XP, maybe a 1/5 of a level or something like that. In fact, if we take a look at the total XP, it's 500 XP total difference. That's not much at this stage of the game. And I don't think Lazer Sharks will be too worried about that XP deficit, nor about the 2 towers that they lost in the mid lane.
Yeah, despite even losing a couple of heroes themselves, they've done incredibly well soaking out all the lanes, and they're trying to plan a little bit of a surprise attack here. I wonder who they'll be going on. Soft Ice is out in front on the Gul'dan, and they were looking to get him, but he checks the bush. Very nicely done hit from Soft Ice. Oh, thinking about where are the enemy heroes, where are they going to be? I don't see them on the map. They're probably in this bush, and exactly where they were. So nice play here from Ähre.
Very nice play indeed, and just being aware of all the dangers. Now they've got themselves to level 10. The Lazer Sharks are knocking on the door. They get themselves to level 10 as well. So the level 10 talents are in. We've got the Horrify from Gul'dan. We've got the Angelic Armaments from Imperius. Massive shove from Stukov. We'll talk about that in just a second, Transparent. Unleash the Boars from Rexar. And Valkyrie from Cassia.
Yeah, and on the red team, they've obviously got the Archon, the Light Bomb, the Micro Missiles from Diva with Blessed Shield to help them engage on Johanna, followed up by a nice Cursed Bullet from Greymane. So, yeah, they've got a few good engage tools as well as an additional stuns to maybe help out in those fights. But the massive shove, Karis, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm a little bit surprised because, like I was saying, one good answer to the Diva bomb is, you know, those Wesley swipes from Stukov. When they, she presses the bomb and you just swipe them away. You can, of course, theoretically do that with Massive Shove, but that leaves you, exposed for a lot longer as Stukov. I mean, it means other heroes can engage on you. Maybe the Diva pilot herself, but also is quite a lot harder to aim on, that onto one specific bomb target. Whereas the flailing swipes, very easy to just knock away the bomb and get your team out of trouble and then reset and go again.
Yeah, and you know it can work in other ways as well. The peel is sort of really good with Master Swipe, but a nice Misha stun here, and another one followed up by Imperius. D.Va is in danger again, and she gets silenced out of that. The kill onto the mech while she was being pulled is incredible, with the Valkyrie coming as well, and this looks like it's going to be lights out for D.Va, but no, the light bomb comes out, stopping the whole of the engage from the blue team. And they're getting turned. The Archon comes out and puts the damage onto Imperius. Very nicely stuffed here, and Soft Ice is falling lower and lower. Sonic trying to desperately pressure the rest of the blue team away. Oh, what a turnaround here from the Laser Sharks. That light bomb was incredible.
Absolutely disgusting light bomb here from Commissar 16, and the knowledge from Tompa Boy to bring that into the enemy team. It looked like everything was going wrong there for the Laser Sharks. The D.Va got silenced out of her mech, and then just when you thought she might escape because Anduin had saved her, she gets Valkyried in by the Cassia. Perfectly played there by Ähre to catch that D.Va, but all of a sudden, that huge light bomb from Commissar 16 completely turns the fight in favor of Laser Sharks. It's going to secure them this shrine very comfortably, but look at this call here from the blue team for Ähre. They immediately go, they get themselves a fort in the mid lane, basically for free, whilst the red team secures themselves the objective.
Yeah, that's really good play from Ähre, making sure that any loss they get something worthwhile out of it. Another place on the map. And here, the Mortar Punisher's going down. D.Va's having to think about hearthing to clear the mid lane because of that additional camp pressure they had. But, are they thinking of getting a keep here, Karis?
I think they might be. Remember, the D.Va's bomb is actually fully charged here. The question is whether they can get themselves in, get that bomb in to zone the blue team away from clearing this Punisher. The silence from Stukov just tries to zone them D.Va mech, but it's not enough just yet. There's a Horrified though from Gul'dan. That's going to be the engage, but the bomb will surely provide the zoning they need. And Stukov can't go and shove that away because there's a Punisher jumping on his head. That gives enough space for the red team to safely disengage, having cleared themselves the front wall of that keep, but nothing more.
Yeah, and that's keeping them nicely in the XP XP equalization as well. Both teams have got a fort now, but really well played here from the Stukov, just silencing in that gap where red team wanted to engage, meant that D.Va couldn't use her thrusters to get the bomb in perhaps a place they wanted to when looking to dive underneath the keep. So nice play once again from Ähre, and Laser Sharks. They've obviously got some teeth. They're getting the grips into this game, but they do need to be careful of what Ähre have planned in every corner of this game.
Yeah, they do indeed have some teeth left in this game. I mean, the thing is, Ähre seem to be controlling the kind of macro side of the game a little bit better than them, and it seems to be all the fights are on Ähre's terms. But sometimes, as we've seen, Laser Sharks are really turning around and taking that counter engage to them and winning fights. So definitely that's the strength of Laser Sharks in this so far, but they will be feeling a bit under the pressure at the moment, I think.
Yeah, and I think, Laser Sharks do have a little bit more of a late game oriented composition as well. You do have a great deal of value, and you get to level 20, you get those spread auto attacks from Greymane, as well as the Twilight Archon from Tassadar. So that's something that Ähre need to think about, as their level 20s, they don't quite get as much as they'd like, and a lot of their power is in those early game ganks with Imperius.
Yeah, absolutely, and the Stukov silence as well to follow those Imperius engages. Whereas, of course, a lot of the... Oh, here's the Blessed Shield with the Light Bomb to follow onto Rexar and Misha as well. Surely they're going to get Arlegan down here, but look at the Misha peel. Eventually, Rexar does fall there, but can there be a counter kill here? Sergeant Hater pops the Angelic Armaments just to stay alive. They've got to start running. The massive shove attempted by Rosie, but doesn't kill anyone. But the mech has gone down, and in comes the skewer from Imperius. Maybe they're going to turn this around and catch the D.Va. They have. She's gone down, and there's another skewer, this time onto Greymane. Pluck. Not feeling so plucky just now, and Commissar 16 pulls him out to safety. I think that's going to be all it is for now, 1-for-1. Wow, what a close fight here, Transparent.
Yes, so close, and Laser Sharks did so well backing out of that there, using the roots, using some of the stuns they had available to be able to keep people alive. Really nice play from them just to be able to walk away and disengage safely. It's just so close. These team fights could go either way at any moment, Karis.
I really respect the confidence of these teams. Both of them have shown tenacity in the face of, they lost somebody at the start of the fight. In this case, it was Rexar lost by Ähre, and they're saying we're still going to take this fight because we've seen how you've stretched the resources you've committed to secure that kill, and we know we've calculated that we can get some response, and that is exactly what they did. They secured themselves that D.Va kill, which was so important.
Yeah, and you know, we're now approaching level 16s coming in here as we have the next shrine. Once again in this middle location where from an Ähre have already got a fort down, so there's nowhere to run for the laser sharks. So they're gonna have to be a little bit more aggressive perhaps in how they go around this. But it seems like from an Ähre trying to get a cheeky gank, and Kazim maybe reveals himself a little early before something happens. And Arclang's now found himself out of position, has to use the Feigned Dead to avoid some of the CC, and is now a little bit further forward. The light bomb comes out, hits Misha alone, and that's going to be all it is right now. As they're trying to push in a little bit, they've got a bit of pressure at the camp at the top, but it's only 4v5 right now. The roots come out, as does the Archon. They're still trying to push in forward, but they're not getting a lot of value from these heroic abilities.
No, they're not just yet, and in fact the fight is still sort of going on. The Archon has been popped, but it's about to end. So now is when this fight might well kick off, because the Archon isn't available for laser sharks, and that's a crucial part of their damage. The D.Va bomb though, is that going to zone? Is that going to provide enough space? No, massive shove completely pushes it away from their team. Nicely done, and they've used that time to punish the D.Va. Here comes the roots from the blue team onto Joanna, and then in the meantime they're chasing onto Tassadar with Misha and Imperius together going hunting. They might go looking for more here because Joanna and Greymane are both pretty low, but they haven't got any more for now as the Valkyrie does not connect.
Yeah, the red team are just keeping them busy right now because they're slowly but surely getting this keep in the top lane, and someone on the blue team needs to be aware of that. They're not sort of looking at their minimap. They're very bloodthirsty, and they're getting a good amount of kills. Seems like Rexar has now noticed, but it could be all too late as these minions are focusing down this keep at the top. But, oh, I think they're going to save it as well as getting this Frozen Punisher. This is going to be a little bit of a breath, perhaps, for Laser Sharks, as they'll only have to defend against 4 heroes, it seems, from the side of Forum and Ähre.
That's absolutely true, and I think that should be defendable. I don't think they have to lose a keep here. D.Va, you've got to be careful. It does get jumped on, and remember that Stukov silence has been so impactful in controlling Batsukath's D.Va. And of course they are 5v4 for now because they can see Rexar in that top lane, so they're just trying to use that space to get some damage onto the Punisher. D.Va does not have a bomb available though, so she has to kind of use some boosters to zone for Hermandara a little bit and create space, but I think they will be able to clear this Punisher without too much more difficulty.
Yeah, and they're not quite using the advantage of the Frozen Punisher, giving them disabling that keep, and but it just falls to the minions. I mean, that's all you really wanted. So patiently played here, maybe just poking away with Gul'dan every so often to make sure that damage comes out, and they get themselves the first keep of the game. But that's not all over really for Laser Sharks, because if they take any sort of consistent late game fight post 20, that keep is not got a lot of health, and they can easily bash through the top keep to end the game themselves if they want to. But it looks like we might get a fight over this siege camp here. They're looking both like they want it. The light bomb comes out once again, stuns 3 people, but the pull from the Cassia comes out of the Valkyrie, pulling them in. The blue team does get the camp indeed. The red team are now fighting a lot, but health bars on the blue team are so low, but Johanna is the one that's going to fall.
Yeah, a miraculous escape here potentially from the blue team. They have got away with it. They killed Joanna and they got out. It looked like such a great light bomb again from Laser Sharks. You know, these light bombs have been so impactful from Commissar 16 on the Joanna, but it's just not quite secured them a kill there. And I think they weren't quite all focusing the same target. I think there was some dispute about whether they should be contesting the people on the shrine, on the camp, sorry, or the people who are more exposed to that light bomb, and they weren't quite focusing the same target there. So that may be why they didn't turn that great light bomb into any kills. D.Va goes in with the boosters here, trying to zone off the 4. Bear in mind they are 4v5 and the level 20 is coming in very soon. That's why they're looking for this fight onto Rosie Stukov, but Misha comes into zone for her teammates.
Yeah, red team trying desperately to try and make something happen here before those level 20s come in. They were doing so well, and I think it is just that sort of extra Misha pressure. You know, Misha does put a lot of danger in the backline. Those stuns have been vital in killing D.Va and making some follow-up kills as well. And you know, it's just that extra fear factor of having this done, but trying to put so many resources into killing a 15 armor Misha can be quite a commitment, and seems like a bit too much when there's those squishies that you've just light bombed and that look so tasty in the backline of the enemy team.
Yeah, and it's now here's going to be an interesting call here from Hermandara. Are they going to use that 20 to invade? Yes, they are. And Joanna sensibly gets out of there. Tompa Boy says, no, I'm not having any of that nonsense. We don't want any 19 versus 20 fight. We want to just soak, wait as much as we can. I think they should be able to get this 20 before the next objective, if my calculations are correct. But
yeah, and
still, that is the main danger for them right now.
Yeah, but they are going to have to think, what are we going to have to give up here? Are we going to have to give up this top 4? It looks like Botskath is trying their best to sort of reduce the damage, maybe put them off taking it, but Greymane at the bottom is soaking as hard as they can. And, you know, they just have to give up this fort. They have to play patiently, because if they lose a hero now, they're most likely going to lose the shrine.
Yeah, they absolutely have to let that fort go, and they've made the right call by doing exactly that. I think they were just there to say, you can't have it quite for free, you've got to commit resources to do this. That allowed Greymane the space to safely soak at the bot lane, because they knew, of course, that all 5 members of the blue team were up in the top. Now, of course, they're not, and Greymane sensibly heads back to safety to join his teammates, and they have got that level 20 in time for the shrine, so they're going to get the Twilight Archon there for Tastard, the Glyph of Faith from Anduin, that second save, Ablative Armor from D.Va, the Radiating Faith from Joanna, sometimes called the Instant Cast Mosh Pit, and of course the Hunter's Blunderbuss from Greymane.
Yeah, this additional CC as well as the additional damage that they get here is going to be so good. They've had a lot of spread damage as it is in these team fights, so now with the Hunter's Blunderbuss it's going to prove all so good for here. But here we go, the Twilight Archon pop now as they try and get the shrine. They're 24 minions ahead. This is going to be hard for the blue team to push into. They have to make some sort of decision here. Misha's not quite in position, so I think they're just going to have to give up this shrine unless Sergeant Hater gets a big spear here. But no, he misses. That cooldown is not going to be reset, and he gets blown up because of all the damage that comes out. The roots from Rexar do not help in peeling there. That's a really nice kill here for the Laser Sharks.
Yeah, and I can't help but think that Ähre didn't need to contest that, because this Punisher was only going on a fort. You know, that's not the end of the world, but with Imperius dead, now this means this Punisher can get a lot of value, potentially, because he's dead for another 40 seconds, and this Punisher's completely healthy. There's no chance for the blue team to contest this whilst Imperius is dead, so a really tough situation. You know, Imperius is a bit like Blaze sometimes, and if you go in and you don't hit your stun, you kind of melt, and we saw that great counter engage there from the members of Laser Sharks. And by the way, that Twilight Archon is still going for Tastadar, because they're still able to hit things.
Yeah, it's been going for almost a minute now, and they're just trying to push down on this keep. The Punisher is about half health, but it's getting burst down very quickly here by the Gul'dan and the Cassia. But I think this D.Va Bomb is going to give them the space that they need for Laser Sharks to be able to take their own keep. Oh, this match has just been evened up exponentially, Karis.
Yeah, this is great play from Laser Sharks in the last couple of minutes here. They've really taken control of that game, and it all came down to having control of that shrine that forced Imperius, if they wanted to contest it, to go in really hard and expose himself to danger. Lovely wall from Tastadar says, no thank you, we don't want a fight just now because we're a bit split. We're going to go and get camped, we're going to paint the map red, we're going to consolidate, and then we're going to get ready for another fight in a few moments.
Yeah, so they did keep the Tastadar's Twilight Archon for quite some time, but that means it's now on its full cooldown, 70 seconds until they probably want to take a fight. That's a long time that maybe From and Ähre think about pressuring the bot keeper themselves, trying to even up something, or maybe just positioning around the top, as the Laser Sharks will indeed want this top keep. You know, it's almost got no health, so if they take the next shrine that is in the top lane, it's more likely going to be game than anything, unless From and Ähre pull out a really nice defense, as they're just playing patiently right now.
Yeah, I think a lot will come down to this next shrine fight. I don't expect these two teams to do anything too risky before then. Although, having said that, I've just been completely proven wrong. For Ähre coming in from the side, Unleash the Boars, comes out, tries to catch onto Greymane, but Commissar 16 on the Underwind is the first to get hit. Tastadar, though, gets skewered by Sergeant Hater. In comes the Valkyrie to try and secure. There, the silence from Stukov secures the kill. Now they want to chase for more. Can they catch onto Joanna? She pops her Iron Skin, will be able to walk away from this for now, but Stukov wants more, throws out the W to get the slows onto D.Va, but she boosts away. But now, I think it's just the one kill, but what can they make happen with this Transparent?
They were sort of looking as if they were going to head towards the core, but they thought, no, that's a little bit too much. I think it was a nice try from Laser Sharks to maybe try and open up that mid fort, as they were getting a lot of catapult pressure coming in there. They need to be aware of that, but getting caught out just a little bit too much by those boars, rooting them in place, just proved too much. So now, From and Ähre, they've picked up the top camp, maybe just get a little bit of pressure, but they do have the space now. They're not using these 30 seconds that they have to their full advantage, but they're still getting a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think they're creating space. They're going to clear top and take all the key pressure off themselves and create bits of pressure in the mid lane. But Tastadar will be back in time for the shrine. So again, you know, not a game losing death by any stretch. But you know, had they caught onto more kills, you know, 2 or 3 more kills, it could have been game right there. So a really nice engage there by Ähre.
Yeah, and they're picking up their bruiser camp right now, which is in timing with the shrine. Although it is in the same lane, it's just going to prove that little bit of extra advantage to give them the vision, give them something that might be able to get a nice engage once again with the Imperious stun and blow someone up really quickly, which is how they've been winning these fights. But Lazer Sharks do have the tools, and if they're not caught with their trousers down as they were in the mid lane, they've also been proven to show some good teamfight abilities.
Now, I really like the way Ähre are positioned here and just got themselves that early shrine start, because what we saw in the last shrine fight is the early advantage for the shrine, the great clear, and the bomb from D.Va allowed that force. Here's a Valkyrie, lovely save from Commissar 16 immediately. There's the light bomb to counter, catches onto 3 members. There's an absolutely massive stun with the blessed shield to follow, and Kazim on the Cassie is getting torn to pieces. Joanna tries to finish the job off, but actually Cassie's got away on 90 HP. With Sergeant H on the Imperious, he's not going to be so lucky. He's stuck in a world on his own, and he gets taken down here by 4 members of Lazer Sharks, and they're chasing, potentially looking for more here as Rexar is slowed.
Yeah, no Misha to save Argolan this time, but Rosisi does have the massive shove, and that pushes D.Va far, far away in a galaxy a long time ago. But the blue team do have to give up this shrine, and it's pushing on such a weak keep. So maybe we'll see some sort of risky play coming out of the blue team. They're looking to maybe take some camps here in the mid lane, and that will set up a lot of pressure to maybe alleviate a core call from the Lazer Sharks.
I think that's the best they can hope for, yes, is to create enough pressure in the mid lane that some members of Lazer Sharks have to back and defend this instead of pushing with their Punisher. But look at this decision making by Lazer Sharks. They're saying, no, we're going to leave this shrine on 39 out of 40. We're going to go and clear this mid lane safely, and then we're going to go and take that Punisher when we've taken away all of your mid lane pressure. Beautifully calculated here by Lazer Sharks, if they manage to pull it off. But that does give time, of course, for Imperious to respawn, which he has now done. Maybe this is the moment for Ähre to take the fight before the Punisher even spawns and just say, we know you can get the shrine for free, but we're going to take a fight and going to get some kills, because that's the only way we can stay in this game with the Punisher marching on the top keep.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's 60 seconds still left on the Archon cooldown of Tassadar right now, because they took that fight early, and Tassadar was using Twilight Archon to extend the cooldown to help take the shrine. But they've now committed. They're going to take the shrine right now. They sort of sniff out that the blue team might be planning a backdoor, and they want to put their pressure on this top lane instead. With only one camp minion left with a catapult, they're thinking, right, mid lane is fine. Blue team have backed to try and defend this. 5 versus 5 with a Punisher and barely a keep. Which team will come out on top? Will they be able to defend it? Lazer Sharks are looking aggressive, but D.Va is low on health.
Punisher jumps in, goes to threaten Cassia. That's a lovely balls coming out from Arlequin just to zone the other members away from defending his Punisher. It's down to 70%, but they need to bait this Punisher towards the mid keep, because otherwise it's just going to march on that core, and whether they kill the red team or not, it's just going to end the game. Nice from Kazim on the Cassia, tries to bring the Punisher away from that core, but here's the engage coming in from Joanna with the light bomb, and there's the D.Va bomb. That's going to create so many problems for Imperious. Sergeant Hayes has been destroyed by that zoning bomb and the follow-up damage from the Archon, and surely now they're going core here. Surely they're going all the way transparent.
Yeah, and it's pushing harder and harder, but with the Twilight Archon onto the core, it looks like it's GG. Game number 1 to Lazer Sharks.
Brilliantly executed here from Lazer Sharks. I mean, you know, you have to say in that early game, Ähre looked like they had so much control of this game. They were so confidently controlling the macro side of it. But ultimately, it wasn't enough. I mean, 8 kills to 6, though, very close in terms of kills. And by the way, that 8 is on the side of Ähre. You know, they've got the, you know, they have the kill advantage, because I feel like most of those kills for the blue team were earlier in the game.
Yeah, and they did really well in the early sort of sides of it. That was sort of when they were using the Imperious stun really nicely. Commissar 16 was having to use the pulls from Anduin so often to be able to save the teammates, but even in some cases it wasn't enough, and they were just getting those kills. They managed to get the first keep of the game as well, but with a few late games sort of where Sergeant Hater had to be in so deep against these sort of big pressures, especially, you know, the Archon coming out from Tassadar, it was quite hard to keep them alive post any sort of blow up attempt. So it just proved a little bit too much for them. Even though they did so well, the game did go over to the Lazer Sharks.
And there has been a brief mistake in the betting, which I will work out how to refund some of momentarily.
Anyone who
Yes.
wants their points back, please do say, and I'll just
We will. Yes.
dish out points. Yes, but now, yeah. So, so now we just wait for Farum and Ähre to perhaps decide what they want to do in terms of map pick or first pick.
We will sort the contest points out, I think, after the show, based on the chat log, because we can see who's bet on what. And I will personally fix those points. That's gone terribly wrong.
What about the people who've gained points, Karen? So you're going to take points away from them as well?
Yes. but they can bet on them now. They can bet with them now as we go into game number 2. So they've got borrowed points they can use, and probably leverage those to make a point profit.
Yeah. So it looks like Farum and Ähre are having a little bit of a think between what they want. They're going to take first pick. So this gives them map pick over to Lazer Sharks once again. They've used up, obviously, Infernal Shrines, a big favourite of theirs, which they were able to come back in strongly. They banned out a couple of maps. So we've had out Battlefield of Eternity, Dragonshire, Braxis Holder, and Tomb of the Spider Queen, all banned out, and all very small maps. So I would expect a nice large map to come out here for the Lazer Sharks.
Yeah, I think that could be the natural way to go is into kind of more macro focused map. I mean, is that do you think that's the way that you would play it if you were on the side of Lazer Sharks now?
Yeah, and they've gone with Towers of Doom, which is exactly sort of what I was expecting them to go with. It's a nice sort of reasonably sized map, and it gives a lot of late game advantage compared to other maps. So it's something that they've definitely proven do well with the sort of late game. So yeah, we're looking at this, whereas the early game of Farum has been outstanding and top quality really, especially for a Division 6 team. So Towers of Doom might be a good pick here for the Lazer Sharks.
Yeah, I think that's a sensible pick here, and I think they can play it fairly macro. I mean, having said that, Farum and Ähre looked quite like they were in control of the map in the early game, last game. So if they can get that underway again this game, possibly with a double soaker here on Towers of Doom, I think that'll be tough for Lazer Sharks to deal with, because there isn't quite the same focal point objectives as Lazer Sharks were so successful with in Infernal Shrines.
Yeah, and it can be really impactful, especially if you get that bottom bell tower. That bottom bell tower here on Towers of Doom can be so essential for gaining any sort of lead, especially with some sort of defensive aggression that you can have with Imperius, like they had last game on the side of Farum and Ähre. So that's a big play that they could try and do. The defensive aggression, just that sort of pressure of zoning out. I think Imperius does incredibly well with. And I think it was at those points where they had to make sort of desperation plays a little bit in the late game was where Farum and Ähre started to fall out of favour.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, what do you think the Diva was critical to the success there for Lazer Sharks?
It's always hard to say. The value of Diva is kind of hard to manage, and it comes a lot in sort of those rotations as well as the micro missiles damage, which has been nerfed a little bit. And I think she's at a good place right now in terms of damage and the meta. But the bombs themselves didn't really get a great deal of sort of pressure or kills. They were able to get maybe one objective from it, and that kill on Imperius sort of proved to be when they got their first keep. So, but I don't think it's something that Farum and Ähre need to worry about.
No, I think that's, it was not the only factor for sure. I think the Anduin light bomb engages were absolutely razor sharp from Lazer Sharks. Laser sharps, you might call them. But that's just their barbershop quartet. No, the Anduin light bomb engages with Joanna that worked really nicely for Laser Sharks, and I was really blown away with how much they were able to get value from that light bomb.
Yeah, and the light bomb plays were incredible. Commissar 16 was so good on the Anduin. Really got to watch out for him in this next game. They may consider banning out the Anduin, in fact, especially on a map like Towers of Doom, where there are plenty of walls and other places that you can pull people to safety. So we'll have to wait and see as we go into the second draft here for Towers of Doom.
Yes, and once again, there is betting open. If you don't have any points because there was an error in the last betting outcome, then tell me and I will give you some points.
We'll dosh out the points. It's a big old
By the way,
giveaway.
I should clarify, I was one of the people who lost out from that, 1,000 points. So, you know, it's affected all of us.
I've gained your points. I have got points to spare now. So please let me say what we have. It's once again an ETC ban, so it's something against them. I think it's a good strategy from Ähre to ban out a couple of the controlling tanks to be able to get the Imperius themselves.
Yeah, and the Gazlo again prioritized. We know he's a strong bruiser nowadays, and he's got that wave clear potential as well, so he could potentially be double soaking. So banned out there by the Sharks.
Yeah, and Gazlo banning out. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's going to be a big amount of pressure on that top lane for them. Thinking about that Diva, I think we're going to see a deja vu almost of the exact same draft if the Diva's not banned out. But the Anduin this time, instead of the Diablo, I think that was a wise choice.
Yeah, I called it, didn't I? I mean, I think that Anduin was so strong there, played by Commissar 16. So a solid target respect ban for Ähre, and now they've got first pick, so they've got a lot of options here. They could go for that Diva, by the way, if they wanted it, and she can double soak as well here on Towers of Doom. Sorry.
Yeah, and especially when that Imperius is now being banned out, that standard first pick from Sergeant Hater, but instead they're going to go for the Johanna, denying that pick that they had earlier against them. Laser Sharks now once again given that opportunity. Do they go for the Diva Greymane? It's two good heroes once again for this map. Could well be something that they're very comfortable with, and they did win last game, although it was incredibly close. So they might be thinking, what can we do to deal with Johanna instead?
I'm slightly surprised here by that Johanna pickup so early, because there are other tanks available, including Varian, by the way. So they looks like they're going for a taunt play. But also, I think the value of Johanna and Laser Sharks last game was in their synergy and their coordination with that light bomb from Anduin. But obviously, with the Anduin being banned out, it didn't seem like such a high priority. Now, Arlegan going for the Dahaka here for that offlaner on Towers of Doom. Now, Dahaka can double soak, but he tends to have to go for the movement speed build in order to do that. Do you think that's a weakness of Dahaka here on Towers of Doom?
I don't. The Dahak is so strong here on this map in general, to be fair. Like, even though you do miss out on the double soak rotation being so easy, you do get that burrow, which means that you can maybe look to invade, and it scares away the enemy 4-man of possibly invading on your camp, because it's that threat that Dahaka will burrow into that bush and get right in your backline. I'm thinking that that's the reason why they've taken it on Towers of Doom, as well as not having the Rexar against the Leeming Varian combo. But picking up the Anna was incredibly smart here from Ähre as well.
Yeah, so I think they've got a good draft already, and they look to banning that Lyric to deny one of the best double soakers here for Towers of Doom. The question is, what does that leave? You've got the Azul potential for the double soak. There's
still the Diva available as well.
Oh yeah, of course, still that Diva, and we know that was valuable for them last game. This time, Botsukath already seems to be on the Li Ming. They're going for a Sonya for double soak. Fair enough. That's fairly traditional. So nothing too surprising there.
Yeah, they have out-subbed Sonny, who played with them last game, instead for a Master Chips on the Sonya here, which I think is probably their usual off-laner. So Sonya will be looking to beat down the Dinosaur in the top lane, but Leeming Varian and Brightwing may be looking to polymorph someone after they're taunted to be able to stop anyone from escaping, especially the last two picks, which would be the damage of Chromie and Maiev this time for for Ähre.
Well, I really like the Chromie here on Towers of Doom. A lot of poke for that objective and a lot of damage in the fights as well. The Maiev suggesting they're going a bit more aggressively maybe than a Chromie is normally comfortable with. So if they can get it right, maybe they might even go for slowing sands from Chromie. And Maiev just pull everybody into a slowing sands of death where they're getting fire rained down on them, possibly even by a W build Chromie.
I was seeing Kazim's Maiev last week, but that was on Infernal Shrines, I believe. And it did work incredibly well, but against a Brightwing Varian, it's going to be quite hard. If you go in, you're probably going to get polymorphed before you can have a Vault of the Warden, or even maybe teleport away after getting those stacks. So it needs to be extra careful, but do like the Chromie into Brightwing. I've always sort of said that it's a bit of a weird sort of matchup, because Brightwing does have the spell armor to give people if they're put in that temporal loop, but Chromie sort of manages to target sort of packs of heroes, where Brightwing wants to be right in the middle, healing everybody up with that soothing mist. So Brightwing tends to get hit a lot by Chromie. So I would say this is quite a sort of even draft once again. The Ähre being on one side is very strong with the Maiev that's played so well by Kazim, but yeah, Laser Sharks have a solid blow-up draft themselves with Li Ming.
Yeah, I think that taunt combination of Tychus Li Ming, that's going to melt a single target. Anyone who gets taunted here is dead, I think, including, by the way, Joanna, once that Shattering Throw is up and running from Varian. So I think that's something that obviously Fulham and Ähre have to watch out for. The counter to that is to hard engage, because Varian can only control one target at a time. If Dahaka and Maiev both run at the backliners, that's going to be something that Varian can't handle. That's when Brightwing may come into play. You may see the Emerald Wind even picked up, but also that value of Polymorph is going to be so important here as we go into Game 2 in this best of 3 Nexus Rumble.
Yeah, they're going to have to decide what they want to do. How are they going to prioritize which lane, with the Dahaka pressure possibly being global on Towers of Doom.
So we are loaded into game number 2. And on the left, in blue, it's Fulham and Ähre. Again, with Arligan on Dahaka, with Rosie on the Ähre, with Soft Ice on Chromie, Sergeant Hater on Johanna, and Rosie on Ähre, and Kazim on Maiev.
Yeah, and on the right-hand side, in the red, the Laser Sharks have assembled to maybe try and take the crown back from Fulham and Ähre. We have Tompa Boy on the Varian, Pluck on Tychus, Botsakath on Li Ming, and Commissar 16 playing the Brightwing with Sonya up in the top, being played by Master Chips.
Indeed, and level 1 talents have been picked up, so Varian, perhaps surprisingly, going for the Lions more at level 1. Normally with a taunt build, you do see the reset on the W picked up, because the normal combination is when you do the taunt, that gives you, and you press W at the same time, that gives you an immediate heroic strike, and that can take a serious chunk of damage out of your opponents. But, so here's what I think Varian's thinking, is they're thinking they're not going to go, Tompa Boy is going to go into Shattering Throw at level 13, not into the minus healing from Mortal Strike. And so they're thinking they would get less value than they typically would out of resetting that heroic strike. But
yep,
Sonya in the mid.
Yep, she's been slapped, she's been pulled by Kazim. The Brightwing tries to teleport in, but it's too much. The damage from Soft Ice and Kazim is far too much for a Sonya spinning in a wave to be able to deal with. But Red Team have sort of, tried to get value elsewhere.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Brightwing was the reason the Brightwing hesitated so much in phase shifting there to the Sonya is because they saw that Ana Grenade was giving minus healing to Sonya, so they were trying to time the phase shift to end, to wait for that grenade to end before phase shifting in, because otherwise the whole healing of that phase shift would have been ruined.
Yeah, you do have to be careful. Anna's Grenade counters so much healing, and although the Brightwing sort of passive healing is fairly good against her, having the phase port is a lot. But the big gang coming in here, Kazim trying to find some sort of pull, but the Polymorph beautifully done here by Commissar, and Pluck putting out the damage as that Tychus is proving too much for Kazim to maybe try and get a cheeky pull.
I mean, don't forget, Varian hasn't reached level 4 yet, although he has now, but before this, obviously, there's the taunt and backed immediately onto Maiev, jumps away from that Brightwing dunk. I don't think Tychus and Li Ming were quite in position ready to follow up on that taunt. And that's something they've really got to make sure they are, because that taunt is the way they kill things. That's a lovely time trap from Chromie. Can they punish? In goes Varin looking for the taunt onto Joanna. No, decides not to use the taunt there because Joanna was fairly safe. Wants to save it instead for Maiev, who, if they can find her out of position, there's the taunt, there's the poly. But again, Li-Ming and Taika's not quite in range to follow up on that taunt, and that's got to be fixed pretty soon because, of course, that's the way they're going to kill targets.
Yeah, and Tychus has opted for the in the rhythm, so they are looking to keep bursting down the target that they go for rather than an instantaneous thing with the bigger they are. We see a bit of an engage here. Kazim now with the pull as well, the unstoppable medallion used by Commissar 16 to avoid being pulled in, which could have been costly for Roman Ähre.
Yeah. Now, the phase shift was used by Brightwing in that exchange, which means they now don't have it for a little while longer, especially as Brightwing isn't near the minions here to get that reset going. Dahaka's going to Zed in. Now, can find a tongue onto Li-Ming? No. Nice little sidestep there from Botsukaf. In comes the Maya. Tether, though, wants to bring Joanna in. There's the sleep from Anna to follow up onto the Brightwing, and that's the end of Brightwing.
Yeah, and with 5 members here, the red team need to be thinking about backing out. They're trying to look for those interrupts to maybe try and delay, but it's very risky, and they don't manage to get it with the magic missiles. Sonya, meanwhile, has been soaking diligently in the other 2 lanes, which Dahaka's going to try and pick up some of it. And it looks like for Roman Ähre a little bit ahead in both XP and core HP.
Yeah, and if you look at the XP, that XP lead comes almost entirely from the hero kills. In fact, in minion XP, there's a sizable advantage here for Laser Shark. So definitely those hero kills were important for Roman Ähre. But actually, neck and neck in XP now. Both teams level 7 and a tiny bit.
Yeah, so they're going to be looking at pushing in on this siege camp. Dahaka, no burrow just yet. It will be up soonish, and Pluck is able to use the medallion to get away, trying to pull out, but the Maiev is still looking for these engagers. Tomboy walking out with the parry. These exchanges of blows is just sort of going almost any way, and both teams walking away with all heroes alive. It just shows how close these teams really are in trying to contest this match.
Definitely very closely contested here in the Nexus Rumble. I do feel like so far Laser Sharks aren't quite coordinating on the same target with those taunts, and if they can, I really think they'll be able to get killed, but it's just not quite all coming together at the same time, and you know, that might be an issue of communication. Maybe they haven't practiced as much with this variant, but it all depends, of course, on the space that gets created as well by Maiev, by Joanna at that front line.
Yeah, and we're going to be looking at the level 10s in a little bit. Once they get in here, that's going to be a completely different game. But Varian trying to charge in here on Kazim. The taunt comes out onto Sergeant Hater instead. The blinds, meaning the Pluck is not able to get any damage apart from using their Q ability. So now we see the red team positioning around. Dahaka still trying to soak in the mid lane.
But don't forget, Chromie's already got her 10. It is the slowing sands, as discussed. Maybe that's their approach, and maybe to go for a cage as well. Now Sonya goes looking for the Chromie, who has already used that slowing. There's a taunt. This time is going to catch onto the Dahaka, but he walks away with his essence, and he has a tongue available. Wants to try and get a lick onto Varin, who gets tethered in by the Maiev. If they can get a lick to follow, which they have, maybe they can blow up this Varin. The Chromie damage comes in. Brightwing with the heal. Of course, she doesn't have that blink heal or the Emerald Wind to disengage yet, so it is going to be a kill onto Varin and nothing more.
Yeah, and they walk away with a good lead here. Once again in XP, rocketing them towards level 10. That kill was really nicely done here, and they're looking for another 3 maybe. Kazim trying to get in, the polymorph coming out at a crucial time, meaning that they can blink away, but the slows from Sergeant Hater mean that all 3 get caught on there, and Kazim is just putting away with that Maiev damage. The Fan of Knives proves too much here for 2 members of the Laser Sharks.
Yeah, this is beautiful play from Kazim on the Maiev. Absolutely devastating to the Laser Sharks right now. Going in and creating so many problems for the Laser Sharks with those great engagers.
Yeah, but now we have a level 10, so we have an unstoppable here, briefly, from Commandeer Odin, from Tigers. That's going to help out a lot in these team fights, as well as the Wave of Force to interrupt any sort of Dahaka pull. But we do see a leap from Sonya, so they're going to try and play aggressively in these team fights. No doubt about that.
Yeah, and a blink heal from Brightwing to give her the ability to be mobile as well and provide some burst healing protection for anyone who gets tethered in, but also to follow Sonya in those engages. Now, the Emerald Wind, I think, would have provided a bit more peel for if Dahaka and Maiev are flanking, and that maybe would have pivoted more around that playstyle of just get the taunt and kill one person. But clearly, as you say, they are going for a bit more of an aggressive style with the leap as well. So that's why the blink heals come out there from Brightwing.
Yeah, and not sure if you noticed, but Ähre held off on picking level 10 for quite some time. Maybe thinking about going into the Eye of Horus just to interrupt a little bit additionally. But they have gone for the Nano Boost, which is going to prove incredible if it either goes on Chromie or the Maiev. And the big stop comes here onto the Sonya. The Sonya's slept as well, but the taunt on the Ähre in the background. But it seems like everybody else on the red team is focusing the Johanna. The stun comes out here from the Blessed Shield. The Unstoppable being used on Master Chips to be able to get a leap out and to safety. No kills so far on either team, and Varian is in deep, but he has the protector to be able to walk away. A lot of heroics for both teams, but still Nano Boost available on the side of Farum and Ähre.
Yeah, and this fight is still going on. Everyone on both teams has been healed up pretty fully, but the Odin's going to go down in a few seconds. Chromie can just transpose her temporal loop into this fight down here. The Hackers burrows to avoid getting taunted, but look at this Maiev falling pretty low. There's a taunt there on her. There is. She's been punished for going too deep with a nice poly and a nice taunt to follow. Now they can start getting some value on this the Hacker. Varian chasing, taunt up in 8 seconds. That's what the red team are waiting for, but they can't wait that long if they want to get more kills. Arligan turns around looking for a cheeky tongue onto Li Ming, but I don't think it's going to be anything just yet. Sonya spinning to winning and gets away.
Yeah, and that was really nicely played. Commissar 16 was almost baiting with the low health with some of the heroes just inside the lane, but was able to blink in, get the polymorph onto the Maiev. Really nicely stuffed. The nice blow up gave the Li Ming extra value, and they've taken a good shrine that's going to help them in reclaiming a lead perhaps in this game.
Yeah, nicely played here by the Sharks in dealing with that Maiev engage. Again, if Maev's engaging too deep, she will get punished by the taunt and the poly, and we saw that poly so important there from Commissar 16. But if they can coordinate those engages with Sergeant Hater on the Joanna, with the Dahaka coming in from the side, maybe from a bush, then that's difficult because the poly and the taunt can each deal with only one thing. Ideally, they want to get those on the same target as well for longer lockdown and blow somebody up. But you know, you can't be doing that to every target if you've got the Hacker and the Maiev and potentially Joanna on your face.
Yeah, and I just want to say that you know, the Varian and the Brightwing are very good picks into Ähre as well, almost here, because Taunt and Polymorph cannot be cleansed by any Ähre level 13. He's opted for the Purifying Darts to remove the roots and slows that Lionmaw perhaps will be giving in some of these occasions. But yeah, so you know, the CC on the side of the Laser Sharks is just really hard to deal with if you are a Farumanara.
Yep, and there you see immediately Joanna, half of Joanna's health gone. She presses the Iron Skin but gets shattered by the Shattering Throw from Varian. Sergeant Hater got to be careful now on Joanna because there's no Iron Skin effectively anymore against Varian. So Sergeant Hater, if he steps up with the Iron Skin on, hoping to tank some CC, it'll get shattered and she'll get CC'd just like everyone else.
Yep, and they are positioning once again around these objectives. We see Dahaka still soaking away. They are ahead on XP, and they might be looking to try and pick up level 15 to get a little bit more of an advantage. But the Maev's gone in, the Taunt and the Polymorph is a lot, but the damage is not enough to kill Kazim. Kazim is now looking to get the Phantom Knives reset, and Brightwing goes down. More resets coming. Varian is the next one to go down. Argalan is very deep, but the Nano boosted Maev looking like an incredible pickup here for the Faruman Ähre.
Yeah, Kath going in with a cheeky blink to try to get a kill onto Maiev, but doesn't quite secure the kill. Does manage to blink out though, again, to safety. So well played from Kath, but yeah, 3 kills for nothing in favor of Faruman Ähre. I mean, it's so strong from them that Maiev engage with the Nano Boost. If Maiev isn't CC'd to death, then they're getting absolutely enormous value, as we've seen in some of these fights.
Yeah, and we're seeing that Faruman are taking the advantage now. They've taken this bottom bell tower. They are ahead by 4, and they have level 16, as well as a big advantage that they can look to maybe defend this bell tower from any kind of poke that Laser Sharks are wanting to do.
So a quick talent observation that some of the chat's been talking about is Joanna did go for the bigger shield at level 1, the hold your ground. But of course that's completely useless once Varian gets level 13, which he has, because he's gone for that Shattering Throw, which will just blow up that shield, even with it having the bigger time. Now here's a taunt onto Maiev. Can they follow it up? No, but lovely Brightwing's there to immediately save that Varian from the trouble.
Yeah, and they're looking to try and dive in on this, and they've had to pop Odin to maybe even try and defend some of these pumpkin sappers, but one managed to sneak in. One's not incredibly vital, especially with the health pools of the core being on 23 to 28 right now, but popping that Odin at this point it's really going to be tough for them to contest the altars now, going into this next phase.
By the way, Maiev isn't finished. She wants to come in and get a tether onto Pluck. Tychus here, and there he gets put to sleep, and a grenade comes out. Lovely disengage here from Varin to come in and provide the peel, and just threaten Ähre to say, no, stop chasing my Tychus. I'm here to help him. But yeah, that's given enough space, of course, for the blue team to secure themselves 2 altars at 5 points apiece. That's 10 more core hit points taken by the Lazer Sharks.
Yeah, and the Lazer Sharks now on 13 HP, so not quite a number before, but it looks like Maiev is going in once again. The Taunt and the Polymorph both being stacked on top of each other. Kazim unable to get a decent pull, but Pluck is being pushed in by the Warden's Cage, as well as the Blessed Shield from Johanna. All this damage is being put out, but Kazim just seems unable to find a reset on that Fan of Knives. And once you've not got the Fan of Knives resetting on cooldown, you lose a lot of your damage. So Red Team now able to take this bell tower back.
Yeah, they will take it back without too much difficulty now, and they have got themselves to level 16, and this is a crucial tier for all of their members, including Varin, who's gone for Banner of Ironforge, so not gone for the spell power, possibly more traditional, but he's gone for the armor that will hopefully protect his team from some of those Maiev engages. So when they see that Warden's Cage, when they see that tether, pop that Ironforge armor, that might be able to save Tychus, it might be able to save Li Ming, it might be able to save Brightwing from some of that damage.
Yeah, and the blue team are looking to try and go in aggressively, but the red team quickly counter with a nice taunt here coming out from Tomboy. Pluck is having to be healed up by the Brightwing teleport. The sappers are going in on that, but Master Chips is maybe looking to the flank, maybe looking for that leap, looking for that opportunity. Sergeant Hater is the one next far forward, but with the blind, the flash of light, able to dismount Sonya, proving a nice disengage here for the blue team.
Now, is this the moment for Lazer Sharks to invade top left? Because this is their last fight pre-20. This could be the time that they go and they just say, look, we're going to force the fight, put everything in and try and make something happen before level 20. Because otherwise, you know, they're going to be down to 9 core hit points and still 2 levels down. Now, Dahaka gets the tongue onto Varin, not too worried about this. In comes the silence onto Varin, so he can't provide the banner to give that protection, but Li Ming with some nice teleports keeps herself alive, and in comes the Brightwing heal as well, and Maiev is the one to get punished ultimately, and Sonya creating so much space in that backline. Master Chips on the Sonya left in, and just created so much distraction that Ähre and Chromie couldn't back up the Maiev, who eventually fell, but it's not over yet. Anna's getting chased as well by Pluck on the Tychus, who with that minigun takes her down to Funky Town.
Yeah, and this is what a turnaround for the Lazer Sharks here. They finally gained control of the game. That crucial kill on the Maiev, meaning that they could snowball away, as well as the Sonya just being so annoying in the backline. They've been able to pick up 2 more altars here, putting the points to 13 on one side and 17 on the other. 17 is a bit of an awkward number. It's not a multiple of 4, so they do have to think about maybe taking another bell tower of some sort, or thinking about how are they going to get that extra 1 if they are consistently channeling the altars after this.
I think it looks like they're going to go and commit to bottom lane, but now Sonya, lucky there that Arligan did not manage to hit that lick onto Sonya, otherwise that could have been a kill. And of course, Master Chips on the Sonya has been so crucial in these late game fights, and we talked about that leap earlier on and how it suggests a more divey strategy, but it's a really nice division of the way they're doing this, which is to use the leap to just create space, because of course Sonya's a lot more tanky in a backline than Maiev is, particularly when Maev's getting polymorphed and taunted, as she is in every single fight here.
Yeah, Red Team have a brief opportunity of getting some momentum, and they use it to get the sappers in on the bot lane, but level 20 is now in here for Rum and Ähre. They have the Radiating Faith from Johanna, so those stun targets that they've been using so well to get the resets for Maiev, and they're going to be stunned for much longer. And Maiev, who's had survivability issues, is now going to have Nano Infusion as well, so really big Storm tier talents here for Rum and Ähre.
You're watching the Heroes Lounge Nexus Rumble, the lower series here between the incumbent champions for Rum and Ähre and their contenders, Lazer Sharks, former champions indeed themselves. And we are in Game 2 in a best of 3 as the blue team are level 20 and stepping up on to that bottom keep.
Yeah, we have this team, the Rum and Ähre, our Division 6 team, coming against the Lazer Sharks, who are from Division 5. The Nexus Rumble is all about a little bit of interdivision contestment, but we see the blue team trying to get some sort of invade, but Li Ming's able to back away, and this means that Dahaka was all on their lonesome and sort of ganked by 3 members of the red team, but the stun now coming out from Sergeant Hater, and Kazim is trying to get the resets on the Fan of Knives, but it looks like it's all too much, but Baron is the one to fall. Leeming trying to get the best. The Warden's Cage comes out, Botscav not able to blink over there, but now gets the blink enabled. I think red team are able to walk away with this, but they have taken one more core hit from a Zapper, and they are going to take another 5 from this altar channel. Looks like Farum and Ähre are back in this game for sure.
Yeah, and that brings Laser Sharks down to 5 core hit points. That's a tough situation for them indeed, and that means that at the moment, 1 altar even will secure the victory for their opponents. But, Brightwing, carefully. Nice little escape there with the Invisible Friend. I'm slightly surprised we didn't see the AoE Spell Dust coming out from the Brightwing, because that would give her whole team 55 spell armor, and against a Chromie with the a Chromie with a lot of damage, and a Maiev as well with the Fan of Knives, that's a lot of protection. But now in comes the engage onto Tychus. They're trying to catch onto it, but a lovely save from Brightwing, and again, who's also going to top up the Sonya. Sonya could think about leaping in here, but there's no Varian available, so they don't want to go in just yet. A lovely disengage here from the Laser Sharks, and this Brightwing's doing incredible work on the healing, as they did, by the way, on Anduin last game.
Yeah, and they're trying so desperately to keep all the members of the team alive while Farum and Ähre are doing their siege camp. This will be the crucial thing. But the taunt comes out onto the Anna. She is blown up instantly. A nice follow-up leap here from the Sonya. Really well played from them, finding the opportunity, as they knew the blue team would be on that camp. And Anna was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and Laser Sharks were sure to punish it.
Yeah, lovely execution here from Laser Sharks. Just that's exactly what their comp is built to do, is to blow up a single target. Now this is a really nice call here from Farum and Ähre, but I think Laser Sharks might have twigged that it's going on, and they are coming to contest this boss, but I think they're going to be a little too late. The boss has been picked up, and why is that crucial? Because it puts their opponents on 1 core hit point with 2 altars up. There's so much pressure here now onto Laser Sharks. They have to defend both of these altars. If they give a single one, they lose the game. And so they're going to try to secure this. Now, will Dahaka think about brush stalking in to try to contest this bot lane? I don't think he will, because that would put him under serious threat of dying.
Yeah, without a support, you feel a little bit vulnerable. Even though you could technically take a 4v4 because someone else would be channeling on another altar, they could have maybe tried to commit to kill Brightwing nice and quickly. But with Blink Heal, she was bound to get away. So instead, Dahaka's up in the top lane, putting pressure on this top fort. Maybe with the pressure of a siege camp as well, after they claim it, it would put another point of core in danger for the Laser Sharks. So they need to think about how are they going to defend this bot fort. Maybe what is the grand scheme in the macro game here on Towers of Doom.
Everything still to play for. Level 22 versus level 21. 9 core hit points versus a single one for Laser Sharks. Brightwing giving the invisibility to her teammates as much as she can. And that may enable some kind of surprise gank here. But they, of course, surely they must suspect that something's going on here. Anna snipes it immediately, sniffs out that something was amiss.
Yeah, and obviously when they are invisible from invisible friends, they can be seen a little bit if they don't remain stationary. But some of them are remaining stationary now, maybe thinking about how are we going to do a surprise. But with no one on the map, the blue team are playing incredibly safe.
Yeah, and also because they've decided to spread out, that means they wouldn't quite have the immediate follow-up on that taunt, which is what you need with that taunt. You need Leeming and Tychus to be waiting next to Varian, ready to go bang on the taunted target, as we did see on the Anna earlier at the bot lane.
Right, now we're in the danger zone, Karis. The altars are activating in 15 seconds, and they are split across the map. The blue team have the advantage of being able to dig Dahaka in, maybe to get a surprise one, and they only need 1 channel. If both the red team manage to defend this and get both channels, both teams will be on 1 HP.
It's so difficult. There's the taunt onto Dahaka immediately with a polymorph to follow up. The Tychus damage comes out, and in comes the Brightwing save onto the Tychus. But Varian's the one who's going to die because of that silence from the Dahaka. It's stopping him from healing himself. Oh, and Tychus does die as well, so that's 2 for nothing so far. Sonya's still in the backline, causing a lot of problems, but with Maya cleaning up onto the Brightwing, that's surely going to be the end of the Laser Sharks here in this game. I think they're going to catch Master Chips as well. Leeming providing as much poke as she can, but I don't think she'll be able to stop Anna capping all the way over here. It's going to be GG, well played in game number 2 to Farum and Ähre.
Yep, they're going to take this game handily. Very well played from them indeed. It just looked like it was so tough. They tried to focus down Dahaka, but he's one of those people who can instantly burrow afterwards. Kind of hard cheese there for Laser Sharks. But Farum and Ähre taking game number 2, evening up this series. They've got some fight still left in them.
They have indeed, and so it's 1-1 so far. Incredible play from Ähre. I mean, I really liked the draft idea actually of Laser Sharks, but they didn't quite manage to get it to work every time. Partly because what I was saying in the setup as well is Maiev, Dahaka, and Joanna are kind of three points that they have to control, and they've only got 1 or 2 CCs to do it with, and that was causing them a problem. And we saw lovely engages as well from Joanna with the Blessed Shield, sometimes with the isolation from Dahaka on top, and then it was Varian typically who was getting blown up, or sometimes of course the Tychus as well.
Yeah, and the Maiev was just a really crucial play here. I think that's going to be a possible target ban for the next game. Maiev's one of those heroes that is just really hard to deal with if you're not quite ready for it. And although they had Polymorph and Taunt and did really well in some locations, it was just a bit too tough when they got those resets. So they might think, we don't want to deal with that this time. Let's just ban it out.
Yeah, as a reminder, you're watching the Heroes Lounge Nexus Rumble, the lower series. We don't have an upper series this week. They're taking a break, but yeah, whoever am I right in saying whoever wins this series will be back next week for the lower Rumble?
Yeah, next week at 19:30 CST, where we do the Rumble every week. And we've been having some good matches, especially today. Ähre versus Lazer Sharks has proven to be one of those ones where it could just go either way, it feels like. You know, the coin toss. I don't want to say it's a coin toss, but, you know, because these teams are playing so incredibly. But it just feels like they're even Stevens, no doubt about it. And it's proven to be some incredible games here that we get to watch for the Nexus Rumble.
Yeah, it's an absolute delight to be here and covering the Nexus Rumble. And don't forget that after this match, there'll be other Heroes Lounge casts on, not on this channel, but over on a range of other channels, including Aviator and Sergeant Johnny, who are covering some Division 2 and Division 7 matches. And you can check out heroeslounge.gg/calendar for a full list of upcoming series.
But if you wanted to play in the Nexus Rumble next week against either of these teams or Food for Phrobius, if you're from Divisions 1 to 4, then you can just sign up from this link here that's going to be in chat. If you click that link and put in your team name, if you are from Heroes Lounge, of course, and if you have a Heroes Lounge team, if you're between Divisions 5 and 7, you could be playing against either Ähre or Lazer Sharks, or next week it will be against Food for Phrobius if you're in Divisions 1 to 4. So get signed up and we may be able to pick you out, and you'll be here being cast on the Heroes Lounge channel in the Nexus Rumble.
Yeah, exciting stuff. So go sign up if you have a team and want to. So what do we expect here from? So if you, let's say you're in the position of Lazer Sharks now, transparent, and you know you've just won game 1 fairly convincingly, and then you've lost your game number 2. Also possibly fairly convincingly. You know, what is their strategy going to be going into game number 3?
Well, they've opted for first pick, and with plenty of maps being banned out, BOE, Dragon's Eye, Abraxas, and Tomb, we're only left with a handful. Volskaya's still on the table as well, is Cursed Hollow. So these are the things that they may be thinking, we can be good here with a first pick from that. So, yeah, I'm trying to think what instead Ähre are going to be picking here as the map, because I think they like to go Volskaya, but giving away the first pick advantage is something that I think Ähre have really thrived on, having that tank pick, and it was really good in game number 1, and it proved really well for them in game number 2, being able to take that second game. What map would you like to see, Karis? Sky Temple is still on the table as well, don't forget.
Sky Temple is still on the table. I think that's a bit more niche though, obviously. But it seems like we're going to go to Cursed Hollow actually. So it is macro as well, like you were suggesting. It is going to be Cursed Hollow picked up by Ähre for game number 3, and we'll see that in just a few seconds when we get into the draft. But yeah, so they're obviously going for a bit more of a macro approach, and it did work out for them in Towers of Doom, even though they didn't pick it in Towers of Doom. And we saw the value of that Dahaka, who was kind of all over the map, and they kind of etched themselves out an XP lead. But ultimately, it was in the fight that they were winning that with that Maiev. So Cursed Hollow, I wonder if, Lazer Sharks are maybe going to play something a bit different. Ban the Maiev and say we'll just play what we're confident on. We've got the Anduin that we had in game number 1 maybe, and just deliver something similarly solid to what they did previously.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that the tank is going to be a big thing here, and especially having first pick, we may see that ETC let through if Rum and Ähre don't feel too scared about it once again. The D.Va's most likely not going to be picked up, I don't think, here, but the Dahaka, that was a big play last game. Took a lot of value, with, especially at the end, with that contagion on the isolation, proved so valuable in confirming that last team fight. And obviously on Cursed Hollow, it's a big old macro map. Dahaka's incredibly valuable.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see a Dahaka picked up again for Home and Ähre here. I think it was just money in the bank for them, and I think that could be a way to go. Master Chips on the Sonya, by the way, I'd like to see that again, because that was so important in disrupting the backline. And that's, Lazer Sharks didn't get many kills in that game on Towers of Doom, but the ones they did, I feel, were facilitated by the space that Master Chips created on that Sonya.
Yeah, and we will be just going straight into this draft for Cursed Hollow. I'd like to see Hanzo attempt to play it, but it's a very good pick on this.
Yeah.
On this map.
So Hanzo could be good. We could. I think the bans that we see will probably be similar to what we saw previously. Oh, yes, so they know what was causing them problems last game. They're saying we're not having any of that Dahaka again, so solid ban there from Lazer Sharks. I think we might see a Caslo ban again from these teams as we've seen in the previous 2 games. But apart from that, might go back to the comfort bans like we were talking about the Anduin that was so impactful in game number 1.
Yeah, Dahaka being banned out and the Anduin being banned out again. Just all these things that the teams now know about each other from these first 2 games. Throwing away what the meta was and just saying, look, we're going to ban the Anduin, we're going to ban Dahaka. This ETC may be the second ban. I think Maev's going to get a ban out here. It can be impactful on Cursed Hollow. Being able to jump over those walls, incredibly valuable for sure.
Absolutely. So I think the Maev could be banned. No, Chromie ban actually. That was also important for Home and Ähre in game number 2. Definitely really well played there by Soft Ice, but I think probably Soft Ice can go for some other mages as well that might provide similar value. So that's I think that's a slightly surprising ban there, but I understand why they've done it.
Yeah, and it can be really good at interrupting the channels. And ETC banned out on the other side, so nothing gone from them.
So nothing too unusual with Anduin and ETC ban. I mean, what do they pick up first here, D.Va, or do they go for the Joanna? So both teams really like this Joanna pickup for main tank. Slightly unorthodox in the current meta. And yeah, Tompa Boy. I mean, we saw, so far in this series, Joanna's got 100% win rate.
Yeah, I mean, she is really good. Has that wave clear. And has the Unstoppable, which is going to be vital against the Imperius. Once again, Sergeant Hater getting that Imperius with the Li Ming now to really battle away. Oh, that's going to be so good for getting those blow-up kills that they tried to get. They got really well in the early game of game number 1, but late game they were struggling to find.
I'd like to see a Stukov pick or ban by Lazer Sharks here, because that Imperius into Stukov combination they did in game number 1 was so effective. And what they could do now is pick up that D.Va that they've shown to have confidence with and ban the Stukov. They've not picked up that D.Va, they've gone for the Sylvanas and the Uther, but they've still got the chance to ban that Stukov, and I'd still like to see it.
But we see an Uther pickup for the Lazer Sharks, and I think Uther is really undervalued in most cases, but this is one of those places where he's really good. Being able to give armor against the blow-up composition like Imperius Li Ming is going to be vital. You're not really too worried about maybe some Lunara damage coming in later, because that engage is going to be the one thing that saves the whole of your the whole of your team fight. It's going to be based on that engage.
This is interesting. So for Home and Ähre banning the Anna there, because I think they thought that Uther might be off lane and they were going for a double support comp. Now I'd love to see from Lazer Sharks is ban that Stukov and say, we've got our healer. Who are you going to pick for yours? Because we've banned out, 4 of the healers are banned out already if they ban that Stukov. I think that, for me, that's the natural ban choice here. But let's see what they actually do. They've gone for the Maiev ban because, of course, the Maiev was impactful. To me, that's surprising because they did have that Uther for the stun that could have been so devastating to Maiev.
Yeah, I think, you're just worried about it if you're Sylvanas. Johanna's also pretty good against the Maiev, but I think it's just one of those things that, like, we don't want to have to worry about it. Let's just get rid of it. And it makes sense sometimes that even though you've got good counters, you kind of don't want to have to hold all your cooldowns all the time, especially if you want to play your game plan instead of countering the enemies.
But they've not gone for that Stukov that I was expecting for that combination that they did so effectively in game number 1. They've gone for Rhaegar to go with Reyna. Now, I mean, this could be Bloodlust. I said before, and they didn't even pick Rhaegar. So, but you see immediately the Fulstad response. That's one way of saying, if you Bloodlust, we will gust you. So I don't think we'll see the Bloodlust now. That Fulstad having been picked up for boss control and for Bloodlust control.
Bloodlust. Now, it could be a thing, but I think the Ancestral is going to get a lot of value as well, even in those situations where Chen is certainly diving into your backline, trying to control that Li Ming, especially with Imperius not having a great amount of HP all the time. So I think possibly we'll see Ancestral instead of Bloodlust, but with Reyna it could work well, and Rexar, who's like a mini Zul'jin without stacks, can also benefit from Bloodlust quite nicely.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I like the Rexar pick, by the way, for 2 reasons. 1, because Rexar was so impactful in game number 1, but 2, because it means that 3 of their heroes start and end with the letter R.
Yeah, it's plenty of R. No, I'm not. That was going to be a bad joke then, and I've withdrawn from saying it. But no, I really like the team that Lazer Sharks have, actually. Picking the Uther up is kind of nice and dandy, as well as the Chen is something that we don't usually see these days, but I think is coming back into sort of fashion after the importance of the medallion. Being able to channel your heroic and maybe sort of being able to get out with it is really nice. If they're able to get that pressure on the backline, we'll have to wait and see, as the stun combination that From and Ähre are able to put out is incredibly good.
Well, it's funny because in Storm League at the moment, Chen is in the bottom 5 of popular heroes. So you don't see him often, but when you do, sometimes he's very impactful indeed. Let's see what happens as we go into the decider in this best of 3. And on the left in blue we have From and Ähre with the Sergeant Hater on Imperius, Soft Ice on the Li Ming, Rosie on the Rhaegar, Arligan on the Rexar, and Kazim on Reyna.
Yep, and on the red team, trying to reclaim a little bit of momentum back into this game. We've got Commissar 16 on the Uther, Botzakat on Sylvanas, Tompa Boy on Johanna, and Master Chips on Chen, followed by Pluck on the Falstad. Now, we didn't talk about the global pressure that having Falstad is also going to be incredibly useful on this map.
Yeah, I think Falstad's a great pickup for this map for a number of reasons. One is that global, exactly as you say, to get some soak, do the old soak and poke on the objectives, but also, of course, the gust is going to be so important in controlling the bosses, which form a decisive part of the strategy on this map.
Yeah, and already using the fly to be able to get additional soak in that top lane. We've seen fantastic use of Gus in most of the Nexus Rumbles from our upper series, but here in the lower series, we are having a great amount of fun. We've got a 1-1 game as Param and Ähre have gone against the Lazer Sharks, our challengers this week in our Winner Stays On tournament, the Nexus Rumble here on Heroes Lounge.
Yes, we do, and the level 1 talents are in for the teams already. So Uther's going for that auto attack at level 1. Hammer of the Lightbringer gives himself that mana restoration if he can keep auto attacking things. On the other hand, you've got Reyna with that Exterminator, so they may be looking to prioritize bosses using that value of the Exterminator for the bonus damage, as well as camps as well, which of course we see Rhaegar and Reyna already doing on the left.
Yeah, I kind of like the auto attack from Uther. That stun cooldown is going to be super good against the Imperius. Just being able to lock him in place almost. Although you put yourself in a little bit of danger, it's quite hard to get a proper stun if the Uther's right in your face already. So, nice pickup here from them. We see the the Bruiser camp being picked up first for Roman Ähre, whereas the Siege camp being picked up first for Lazer Sharks.
That's exactly what you'd expect because of the tribute positioning. So the teams knowing how to play the map here, because of course the blue team is going to time their Siege camp to go top exactly when the tribute is in the bot lane. Of course, the red camp did not have that opportunity, so they've gone to send that Siege camp rolling already, and then they will get their Bruiser camp going to the mid during that objective.
Yeah, but we see this sort of dueling offlaners against DPS instead of just the off lane versus off lane now, with Falstad being in the top lane, being able to push out that Siege camp when it comes eventually. Nicely done. And Chen is just trying to body block the damage from Soft Ice, but sort of realizes that there's a couple of people missing on the map and doesn't want to take too much damage, so has backed out nicely from there. Safely done.
Did get 3/4 of a tower though, so not too bad, not too shabby for a first camp at 2 minutes. And indeed, as we see, as predicted, Lazer Sharks going for their Bruiser camp now just before this tribute, and Reina waiting to cap that Siege camp in the top.
Yeah, and there it is, capped straight away. The red team camping their own Bruiser camp, so camp pressure all round. But I think the blue team are going to get in position a little bit earlier, and that Siege camp on the top is going to be quite threatening for them. So now Li Ming and Reina are in position. Rhaegar is clearing the wave, but we see Commissar and Master Chips on the Chen and the Uther trying to make sure that there's something to interrupt, and Commissar will have to use a ranged ability. Nope, just the presence of Chen is enough to make Kazim back out.
Just the presence of Chen is a threat. Of course, Volstad still top clearing that Siege camp and cannot fly directly to this fight, which means that this is now 5v4 right now as Chen goes in looking to pressure onto Rexar, who has to stop getting out there. But Misha's there providing the zoning. This is still a 5v4, 6 if you count Misha as well. And they go in, get the stun onto Chen and get a bit of poke. So for now, the Reds start having to give it. And Volstad is going to fly in a few seconds very healthily if Chen can tap. But no, Sylvanas gets picked off. And that means that Volstad flight is a little bit wasted. And Pluck immediately turns around and starts walking up to that top.
It's unfortunate, it looked very good, but a stun from Imperius followed up by the Misha charge is just so valuable. And this is the exact combo that they pulled off in game number 1 to great success, although they did lose the game. So we'll have to wait for the late game, because I think once level 10s come in, that's going to be incredibly valuable for the Lazer Sharks.
Yeah, and I think the Chen Boogie Wonderland Storm Earth and Fire combination is going to be potentially devastating for some of those backliners, particularly for Reina, but maybe also for Rhaegar as well. And of course you have the threat of the Gust. Now, in comes the Joanna looking to catch onto Rhaegar. That's a lot of damage to come out from the Sylvanas, and the Uther stun to follow. In goes Sylv looking for the kill, 45 HP, and secures the job.
Yeah, nicely done here. This kill is going to be invaluable as they have to invade the opposition side to be able to channel this tribute. Do you think the blue team will even attempt to delay this tribute now?
I think they may well do. It looks like they're choosing not to because Li Ming is still in that bot lane just trying to slow Chen. But Chen says, no, you're not slowing me, I'm slowing you. And I think it seems unlikely now with only Rexar here. And in fact, they've got to be careful about giving Misha kills away too much because, of course, Falstad has gone for that Seasoned Marksman, which will stack off those Misha kills. And immediately, is this the red team angling for their boss here?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so, especially when you have the Seasoned Marksman from Falstad. It's a good amount of damage on this boss camp, and Sylvanas isn't too shabby as well. The blue team was slightly unfortunate. They almost got a kill on Chen in the bot lane, but it's meant that they're in position to get their own boss, especially with an Exterminator Reina and Li Ming. They're going to be picking up theirs in no time at all. So we see a bit of a boss trade here. I don't think anyone's going to be attempting any sort of invade at the same time.
Yeah, so an eye for an eye and a boss for a boss. But maybe they can start putting pressure onto Misha, maybe catch a Misha kill. No, they're going to step back, and both teams are going to wait for that level 10 before going in for any more fights. We see 4Rs, Reina and Rexar in the top lane trying to deal with the boss. And in the bot lane, of course, you have Falstad and Chen just trying to clear there, as well as Li Ming pokes to secure a tower.
Yeah, and this is now in the bot lane, so blue team are having a little bit of a trouble because they're going to have to rotate quite far, especially Reina, who's got no mana right now. There's almost cleared and they're thinking about leaving, but not quite yet. The red team on their side, this time the tribute, as they did collect the one that was on the opponent's side, means they've got a little bit of an advantage here, and they're looking to position forward. I think Soft Ice may have seen that, but no, they're going to get in. The stun comes out of the Divine Storm as well from the Uther here, blows up Li Ming instantaneously. Very well played here from the Lazer Sharks.
Yeah, good night, Li Ming. You were shut down completely there, and that's a nice kill and a nice tribute to follow. Now the question is, what can they achieve with that kill. Sylvanas goes to secure some soak bottom, and maybe she'll push onto those towers, knowing as she does that most of the blue team are elsewhere on the map. But there isn't much more in terms of objectives that they can secure. In fact, Sylvanas is going to help secure this siege camp with Falstad, who I'm surprised. I mean, I don't think Falstad actually needed any help there, but I don't think there was much more Sylvanas could do without being exposed on the map.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to give your friend a hand, Karis. You know, you're just thinking, you know, you look like you're fine with that, but I'll come make it easier. And that's what Boxer Camp is like. They're going to come give you a hand, whatever you're doing. But we see the camps now being picked up by both teams. These bruise camps are just going to clash in the mid lane, and blue team have a much better positional advantage here with this top side.
Yeah, and this is definitely on the blue side of the map, and that means it's the Chen and Joanna have to stretch quite far to get onto the interrupts, and of course Li Ming sitting in the pocket there waiting for some side damage, but Botsakat on the Sylvanas put a lot of work onto Li Ming. Now in goes Chen. Can he get his ult off? Yes, he can, using that medallion exactly as you talked about. Master Chip starts to chase, puts the roots onto Li Ming, who has to pop her own medallion to get out there. Now Imperius though completely left on his own because of the zoning of the Chen by Master Chips yet again, and in fact they're going to get a kill onto Misha as well as Imperius. That's 2 more season marksman stacks for Falter, but they're not finished yet. They're going for Misha, for Rexar as well, but the other 2 R's in the form of Rhaegar keep him alive with that ancestral healing. But it is going to be a curse for the red team.
Yeah, and that is going to be devastating for them. Really nicely played here from the Laser Sharks. They're going after Arglan on this Rexar. He doesn't have Misha for a little bit. There's a Misha spawning now. That's going to give extra XP over to the blue team, but no, Rexar gets picked up. They're just going to look to try and pressure this keep. The minions are already at that fort, destroying it, and they cleared up the wave already, so they're thinking, we're going to get this, but Sergeant Hayes goes in with the stun, tries to get it. Kazim is falling lower and lower. Master Chip's trying to chase him down. 10 HP to nothing. That's another kill. That's going to be really good here for the Laser Sharks.
It is indeed, and they are pushing straight onto this keep. And by the way, Sergeant Hayes is in here as well. Throws out a skewer. Yes, he gets the skewer onto 2 of them, but that's not going to save him from 5 members alive. And they are going straight onto keep here. They've got to be very careful here, because if they lose another kill here, they may, this could be a moment when red team just ends. I don't think they will just now, but bear in mind their boss is up in 1 minute 30. That's going to be something that they really have to worry about on the side of the fulfillment error. Now, Falstaff flies mid to secure the mid fort as well, having already secured the bot fort with those siege giants.
Yep, they are pushing in nicely now. They've got a lot of damage here, and they've been able to get every wave pushed out in all places. They only have a level lead in XP, which is, fairly good, and they're having to Hearthstone now. They're thinking, right, we're ahead, we're in the lead, we can have this, we can keep going and maybe win this game.
So what is the game plan now for Laser Sharks if they want to close out a victory here from this 1 level advantage? Is it to A, try and play for their boss in the top lane, which could end the game, or is it B, to wait and let that trickle XP bonus from the 3 forts and a keep advantage, which is 4 structures, that's going to start giving them a level lead every 1 or 2 minutes, so that could turn into a sizable XP lead.
Yeah, and but they need to play a little bit aggressively. They do have Reyna with the Exterminator, so they should be perhaps thinking about going for bosses as quick as they can. The bosses are going up in about 20 seconds, and red team will be sure to take theirs. So blue team need to make the decision, are we going to try and invade and take some sort of 5v5 fight on even terms? Or are we going to look to just race our own bosses? I think invading would be the right play here, especially as that boss will go on your naked core because of the clear top.
I absolutely agree, Transparent, because as well as the fact that boss is going on core, which is a crucial factor, the other thing is, as I said about the trickle XP bonus, the longer this game goes on, the more the XP lead is going to open up for the Laser Sharks, and because of their map control as well. So the long game seems to be at the moment in favor of Laser Sharks, as well as that season marksman stacks. They're just ticking up for Falstad, currently running at 20 so far. But it seems like the blue team have opted to trade here. Now, to me, that seems like it might be a slight miscalculation. Of course, they will get their boss easy peasy. And yes, he's going to push on a fort. Maybe it'll even take a fort. But what they can't, what they then have to do is deal with that boss from the red team that is going towards their core.
Yeah, and red team now have the decision of, do we just get an easy tribute and try and pressure the core a little bit, or do we pressure elsewhere? They have a boss in their own bot lane themselves. They could just ignore it, because if they get the core, they win. They don't have to worry about the boss ever again. Sergeant Hater tries to get in the stun, but he is not able to. But the medallion proving so good, so much value, dodging out on the Divine Storm. Master Chips has gone in, not able to interrupt onto the ultimate. The root on the Reina is going to prove vital. The Unstoppable now pushed out, as well as the Ancestral, keeping people alive. But Rosie, as the as the Rhaegar is getting stunned and silenced as well. Beautiful wailing arrow here, and Sergeant Hater is going to fall to the side of Commissar, as well as Misha. Kazim is looking lower and lower. This is proving deathly for the side of Farum and Ähre. They're going to get closed in here. The Falstad gusts them in, and the boss is already on the core Karis. This is a disaster.
GG's already been called by Reyna. Rexar throws out the taunt. He knows the game's over. He knows their opponents are going through here to win the Nexus Rumble and become the new Nexus Rumble lower champions.
Yes, yeah, fantastic job here from the Lazer Sharks. Well done to them. Being able to pull out this series right at the end there with a couple of good picks and a couple of good team fights. Well done to them indeed.
Yeah, incredible play from the Lazer Sharks there. They looked so in control. Again, I'm not confident about that call to trade the bosses rather than contest, because it gave, you know what it did? It gave Lazer Sharks time to get that level 16, and from that, exactly from that trickle XP that we're talking about. So when they took that fight, it was 15 versus 16, and that was always going to be a tough fight. Now I understand why they made that decision to postpone. It's because of the gust, right? The gust from Falstad, which was a real threat for, you know, if you try to invade a boss and you get gusted, it's, you know, it's a real problem. But you know, but then maybe if they weren't going to contest, maybe the time to defend was at the core, rather than trying to take that fight kind of in the lane and risking the boss just pushing for free.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough decision. They were definitely between a rock and a hard place. But yeah, I mean, Farum and Ähre played so well in all three games. It was so close. They're going to be kicking themselves, certainly, in some of those positions. But ultimately, the Lazer Sharks were the victors here in the Nexus Rumble. We had a great time. I think we did do incredibly well finding a series, and the Lazer Sharks proved to be really good against Farum and Ähre. But yeah, so if you want to tune in and see us next week at 19:30 CST, this is where we're going to be. So please follow, and we'll have more series for you next week.
Absolutely. Don't forget to tune in next week. If you bet on game number 1 in this and there was a mistake with the betting, we will go back and refund those bets and maybe take them away from the people who artificially got them as well. But we'll sort some of that. But yeah, it's been an incredible series, Transparent. I mean, Lazer Sharks looked so dominant there in game number 3, but that didn't reflect kind of the series as a whole, where, of course, you know, there was real back and forth between the two teams.
Yeah, you know, the game number 3, obviously, I think is, you know, getting a bit tired. You know, there's been a big battle, especially after coming back in game number 2. Yeah, Farum and Ähre did really, really well, and it was quite a phenomenal series for sure. So yeah, if you want to play in the Nexus Rumble, please do !Rumble here in the chat, and you can see what it's all about. You can read the little blog post, see what we do. We unfortunately don't have an upper series for you this week. We're taking a little break with that, but we'll have one here next week, which will be fantastically good fun.
Yeah,
indeed.
we're going to raid you over in just a few moments to Aviator, who's casting Division 2 Complex versus Out of Position Squad. So go over there and check him out. That's Heroes Lounge Division 2. But from us, I think that's all for tonight, Transparent. Have you got any final thoughts for the night?
Final thoughts for the night? Well, thank you for tuning in. I may be joining Aviator for his cast as well, so if you do see us over there, it'll be great to see you again. But yeah, please do follow and tune in next week, as we'll have another great Rumble. So see you for now.
Thank you everyone for watching. Have a good evening.
here, but the spear comes out onto Sonny on the tough start, but the pull comes out from Combo 6, and they're safe. Now they're trying to trade the health bars right back at the blue team. But yeah, really nice spear here from Sergeant Hater. The stuns from Misha comes out again. D.Va has popped the bomb. Popping the bomb. Blue team now forced to disengage from this explosion, but red team looking to keep the pressure on after that.
Yeah, Misha's flanking actually, looking for more trouble, maybe trying to threaten Anduin there, who's been so crucial in saving people in these fights. There goes Misha, this time onto Tassadar, locks down Sonny Tassadar, but she'll get away for now. There's the damage, counter damage onto Stukov there. Rosie's in a lot of trouble. D.Va comes in with the disruption, tries to control Rosie there, but there's the peel from Misha onto 3 members, and oh my days, that's absolutely savage damage coming out from the blue team here, and they secure the kill on Anduin, and the task to follow up. It's going to be 3 for nothing there in favor of Ähre.
Yeah, one followed up by Imperius. D.Va is in danger again, and she gets silenced out of that. The